This is Healing Through Love. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Healing Through Love. My name is Olivia Luna, and I'm just a 32-year-old single woman who has never been in love before. And this podcast is my journey to find a healthy, healing, long-term monogamous relationship. Today, I'm super excited. I have the very, very lovely Mary Wolff. Mary Wolff is a fitness trainer in New York City, currently teaching at the online fitness platform Obey Fitness. In addition to teaching, Mary is the social media manager overseeing Instagram and TikTok for the company. She's originally from the Midwest, moved to New York now over 11 years ago to pursue a career in dance. She's a lover of movement and is a top tier all-around athlete. Definitely go check out Mary on Obey Fitness. She will kick your butt 600 different ways and make you smile as well at the same time. Mary, how are you?
I'm good. I feel really good. Speaking of fitness, I taught early this morning at 6 a.m. This day is like such an awesome day for me because when you wake up and you get stuff done so early, like your workout done, you're like, wow, I have a whole day ahead of me and it's like 7 a.m. It's like the best feeling. So I always feel super energized and organized on this day. So
I know what you mean. It's like 2 o'clock and I've already done like so much work, and it feels good. It's like, okay, I could just chill with a little glass of wine or something later and not feel bad about it because
yes.
got my day done. Well, thank you so much for hopping in today. Let's just get into it, Mary. First, before I get into my first question, I just wanted to say, so Mary and I work together at Obey Fitness, and in between her classes, I always just like love talking to you about like your dates and dating and in New York and the ups and the downs. And I just really appreciated your just general like positivity that you have. I mean, maybe internally you're doing all kinds of other things, but outwardly you always just gave me so much hope of just like, yeah, we're here, we're in it, we're still looking good, we're still doing our best, and we're going to keep going, we're going to keep trying. So I just wanted to say that before we got into
Well, it took a long time to get there. So I
Yeah,
appreciate that sentiment.
no worries. So let's start at the beginning. Can you tell us a little bit about how you grew up and specifically how were you taught to love growing up?
It was pretty non-existent and not in like a bad way. It was just, I wasn't really taught. I was just observant of my mom and my dad. My mom remarried and to my dad, had me. So automatically I knew that love was important because she left somebody, because she didn't love that person anymore. And I have a really good relationship with my mom, but we didn't talk about relationships at all. We weren't on that level. We do now. But we didn't talk about dating or guys. So I kind of internalized that a lot, or just talked about it with my friends. So I was taught to love in a very, very small way. And I didn't know what it meant until I really saw my mom and my dad being affectionate, which they weren't very much at all affectionate. Like I didn't outwardly see it. They weren't loving or touching or anything like that. So that was all stuff that I had to learn. So
Yeah, I feel that. Definitely there's what you said about like seeing your mom, kind of fall out of love and understanding like the weight of it, I guess, especially like so I've seen my mother married and divorced about 4 times now. And every time it doesn't get any easier. It's a big like struggle. And I've definitely see how it's impacted, one, my view on marriage. But then two, yeah, the weight of like choosing to love somebody, choosing to marry and commit to someone. And when that doesn't happen, like how that sort of, it can impact, a whole family.
yeah.
So yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Um, can you talk a little bit about, early on when you started dating, like when that was for you? Who were you in the relationships? Was there things that based off of your experience, with your caregivers, what was that sort of informing you about dating and relationships?
Yeah. So my earliest relationship was in high school. And it wasn't very long at all. It was guy that was always a part of the girlfriend group, if that makes sense, like the best guy friend. And then we ended up dating for a very short period of time. Um, Short tangent, uh, he went on to date another girl and marry her in college, and my mom ended up doing the wedding cake because my mom makes wedding cake. So that's
Oh,
always like
wow.
really fun. So it's like, and then I like attended the wedding because I'm actually like, does obey as well, the company that I teach for. So it's like this weird dynamic where she like takes my fitness classes and we are now good friends. And then I like went to their wedding. Anyway, that's just like the story of my life, basically. Yeah. But my first long-term relationship was in college, and I dated him for over 2 years. And I can say right now that I loved him in more of a friend way. I didn't experience love until later on. Um, but he was like my best friend. And I think that's how I approached a lot of my relationships, where I sought out more of a guy friend than I did uh more romantic. And now I know that's a little bit different than what I want now, but he was like my best friend. We had the best time together. And I moved to New York City and he stayed in Nebraska. And so that was a huge thing that kind of broke us up. But um yeah, for friendship was the main thing that I sought out. And I think it still works for me, but in a smaller capacity. So
Mm, that's interesting though. Like, do you think that that maybe friendship felt like safer in some way? Like if I don't say, "Oh, I want love," or this like big emotional offering, if I just say friendship, you're less likely to get like hurt, or why do you think that was?
I grew up with brothers, and I think I like being a friend to guys. I feel like I'm very much like a guy's friend type of girl. And so was and I grew up with sports, and so I feel very attached. Even like my style, I'll dress like a little I don't want to say manly, just not as feminine. And I'll wear like guys, even in my style, I do. And so I think I relate to guys in that way, where I want to be their best friend. I want to talk about sports. I want to like drink beers with the guys. That's the type of person that I've always wanted to be. And or like I felt more comfortable with just like being a girl. And so I think I sought that out in relationships really early on, when I was in my sorority and I was hanging out with frat guys. So that's what I liked. Um,
I love that. I can relate to that because I was definitely the like tomboy, right? The tomboy kind of growing up
yeah.
in life and in like also in my friend groups too. And I, like while there was a lot of benefit, I think at that time of having like guy friends, and I had a younger brother too, so it just sort of made sense. It did sort of make like a little bit of a struggle in terms of developing female friendships. I don't know if you had like that kind of same issue
Yeah.
growing up.
Yes, but more like long-term ones. Like I feel like a lot of girls have like really, really close long-term friends. And
Mm.
I do, but they're singles. They're like single here, like maybe a double there, like in college or through like jobs and stuff like that. But like a massive big group of girlfriends. Yes, I can relate to that.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Transition now into New York dating.
Yes.
Can you kind of give us like a brief journey of Mary dating in New York?
Yeah, this will kind of, set up for my whole dating career. I met someone really early on at my job that I was working at. I was a bartender and he was also a bartender, and I fell in love with him. And we were together for a little bit, and that was when I like really felt, I was like, this is it. Like, he is the one, or this is the one. This is what I want. I like romantically, intimately, best friend, like banter. I was like, this is it. And that relationship ended. And I was so heartbroken that it prevented me from not only going on dates, but prevented me from opening myself up to other relationships until very, very recently, because I was constantly comparing my every single person to that type of love. I was like,
Oh.
this doesn't feel like it felt with that person. And so I um didn't date because I was like, it's not the same. It'll never be the same. And so up until recently is when I started really dating again and feeling like, okay, there is something else out there for me. So it took a long time. That relationship really broke my heart.
Ugh. First loves, man. Oh my goodness.
Like,
Yeah. I can totally like understand that. Like there is something about, and I need to do a whole episode on my first love because it was something else. But there
yeah,
is like something about like yeah, like one comparing relationships, but also that first love experience,
yeah,
like when you, especially if you've had this pattern of like okay, starting from friendship and not really venturing beyond certain boundaries in your relationships, when you meet that one person that kind of takes you to the next level, it's like you've, I don't know, you've graduated in the game or something and you're just
yes.
like yeah,
Like,
like
don't you feel like you set the bar? Like, you're like, this is the bar that I want to get to. And so every person, you're like, doesn't quite get there. You're like, why? Like, why isn't this person meeting it? And, maybe it's because I wasn't letting myself, but it was just a constant game of comparison.
yeah. And also it's we're basing it off of what we're like experiencing in our information, right? So if we know, okay, this is the bar and I really like this and this was great, this must be the best thing, right? This must be the absolute top tier. And we don't realize like, no, there's actually probably 10 other layers above this that we could go in our relationships, but we're only basing it off of like our experiences. And I
Yeah,
think there's no
100%.
man there's no manual that we kind of get, as we go into dating. We just have to
Yeah.
figure it out. Um, and so how are you dating now? Do you like modern dating? Are you on the apps? Are you doing in person? What do you like to do?
So fast forward years of just healing and going through a few dates and then comparing. Around like early 2019 is when I was like, okay, I'm gonna really, really do this. I'm gonna really, really commit. I was like feeling confident in my body, jobs, everything. And then pandemic hits. And I was like, amazing. And dating just absolutely went to shit. And so
Like everything
um
else.
yeah, like everything else. So I went on like a few friend, not friend. I went on a few like mutual dates with guys that I already knew that like there was something there. And everybody in 2020 was like either like coupling up or they broke up. Like it was
Hmm.
either or. And so I think everyone was like trying to match. And I went on a few really amazing dates that fizzled. And then once the world started opening back up, I hit the apps and like I've never had before. Like I always had the apps, I didn't do them. And then I finally was like opening up a world. I really set up my profile. I've been mostly on Hinge. That's been mostly successful for me. And I did do one matchmaking service though. Um,
Really? Okay.
yes, yes, which was why I was so excited to talk to you. And
Yeah.
more success than I did. Um, my mom called me one day. I'll never forget it. It was night, and she was like, "Mary, I want to buy you something." And I'm thinking in my brain, I'm like, an air fryer, like what? Like so fun, a gift. And she was like, "I want to get you a matchmaking service," and I was like, no, thank
Wow.
you. Like so put off by it. But she ended up buying me. It was like 3 months, X amount of dates, or like 6 months, X amount of dates I get with the service, and they set me up. And basically it took me a while to get to my first date because I kept saying no. And they were like, listen, just go on one date and then we can figure it out from there. It was
Mm.
the worst date of my life.
Oh. Do tell. Do tell.
So, I mean, the person had moved here in 2020 and was living off of Times Square. So you have that like initial conversation, where are you from, where do you grow up? But then we didn't even have like mutual New York things to talk about, which was really hard. Like, oh, I love going out to that bar or restaurant, or, there was just like no mutual things. Physically, I wasn't attracted to him as well, which was super, I think initially important. And there's just no connection. I wanted to, I think I chugged, I know this is terrible, but I think I chugged my cocktail. And I was like,
I gotta get
I
out of here. Throw
was
it
like, I'm
back.
gonna do this. And I looked so cute that night. Yeah, so that was and I think I kind of, and I that was a one and done thing for me. So I didn't even go on the other dates with my matchmaking service.
Mm.
Um, you know, we my matchmaker was so nice, and I just felt like she didn't know me. Um, it, I felt like it was impossible to get to know me and the person that I wanted to be with.
Mm.
So I, respectfully declined, and I tried it though, and that was the most important thing, because initially I was like, absolutely not. And so I was just proud of myself for like saying yes to something that I was absolutely not comfortable with. I had no interest in. And after I talked to a few friends, they were like, why not? Like, it's free. It could be fun. Like, you could go see a new place, meet a new person. And I wouldn't say it's an all around bad experience. It just wasn't the experience for me. So
Fair. Fair. But yeah, celebrate those wins. I mean, the fact that you like tried it and you gave it your best shot and, it didn't work out, but like that's growth right there, right? Like that's a different way of dating that you haven't done before. I think that's how I'm kind of approaching it too, because like I was very much like the second I signed up for it, I was like, wait, why the hell did I do this? Like what is this really what my dating life is coming to? Like I have to like pay someone else to like do this for me? But
I know.
there even just in like my first conversation with my matchmaker, like there's things that I was learning about myself, like the questions like she was asking about my preferences and what I was looking for. Like I really had to like think about it. And it was a lot of things that like I didn't consider in a partnership, or that like I could ask for in a partner, if that makes sense. Like I was like, oh, I have to kind of just be okay with settling in a way, but just sort of expecting less. And she's like, no, like just be specific, and if it's out there and it aligns, great. If not, we'll do our best to hit everything. But even just that process was like super helpful for me.
Yeah, that was I also do remember that being extremely helpful. I've never listed out uh things that I've wanted in a relationship before. And that was like a good exercise for me, because it was always just like whatever I'm feeling or seeing. And so that was like nice to actually be like, no, this is what I would like them to do, whether it was like little, like, I can't ski, so, or like something silly, like, or something a little bit deeper. And so yeah, that was a really good exercise for me as well, I guess. Yeah, like I said, not an all around bad experience.
For sure. Well, hopefully I'll be able to report back with something more positive, but
You
yeah, I
will. I
appreciate
have
it.
I have good faith. Like, I'm so pumped for you. Like, I know this is going to be a great experience no matter what. So
It already has been. I mean, this podcast has come out of it, so I can't like, even if I don't find my soulmate through this, like this growth alone has been just wonderful. So, yeah, very excited. So, oh, I had you're a fitness trainer. I was curious if like in your journey towards, health, wellness, fitness, all of those things, has that kind of impacted like how you date and like those preferences and stuff?
for the opposite person, I obviously value, you know, that they value their health, in a partner. Do they have to work out every day or anything? No, I don't. Physically, I have dated all shapes and sizes, and I, could care. Am I attracted to a certain type? Yes, but like I have dated all shapes and sizes. Um, for myself, it's been interesting because I got into the fitness industry in probably like 2015 or so, and I was really really thin, and I was going through the motions with my body and body stuff, and that alone impacted me because as I started to get healthier and gain weight, that internal negative self-talk started to turn on as well.
Mm.
And um as I saw my body changed, my um negative self-talk just really took over, and that also prevented me, and still to this day does prevent me from going on several dates, because if I don't feel confident enough to go on dates, uh I won't go on them if I don't feel confident in myself. And it's been so up and down. It's so up and down as a girl in general. Uh but yeah, if I don't feel comfortable in my body, I won't even attempt to go on dates. And so yeah, that's been really, really hard as I've healed from that journey, from my fitness and weight gain journey. And sucks.
Yeah. I
Tough.
I can totally understand, and especially in like, how we date today with the apps, everything is visual, right? Like you're looking at photos and stuff, and also even on like social media, right? It's very easy to compare yourself, like thinking, oh, these are the types of women that get men, or are gonna get the guy. And I went through the same thing too, where when I was really young, when I was a kid, I was like super 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 skinny, and then as I got older into high school, started to gain a little bit more weight, actually became a little overweight for a while, had so many insecurities with that. And then in just an effort to like start to want to feel healthy again and just feel good in my body, I worked out more. And also working on a lot of like fitness live stream shows, you're watching somebody work out for like 6 hours a day. It started to make me think like, you know what, maybe I need to like take more charge of like my wellness, and starting to see the change in my body. And like you said, like feeling that confidence, feeling that strength, or just that healthiness. Um, but yet still, like you said, still struggling with like, now the kind of more muscular shape that my body has. Like, is that feminine enough? Like, is a guy gonna see me as intimidating or something because I can, lift this much weight or whatever? And like that self-talk, like trying to wrangle that in, because my goal isn't to like, have a body that's gonna get the guy necessarily. It's I just want to feel good, and I want to feel like confident, and that like if I need to lift something heavy, I can, like I can breathe. And I think like as I go further into that journey as well, like that's the kind of healing and that's the kind of focus that I want to have too. Like I really just want to make it about me and like how I feel, and not so much about, is this going to attract the right person? The right person will be attracted to whatever the hell my body is.
Yes, I completely agree, because I think it also comes off as like an energy as well. If you feel confident, that 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 attractiveness of your confidence is going to be attractive to somebody, and sometimes it's just not there. And it's been, like I said, up and down, but it has been a long time coming. And uh yeah, that has prevented me a lot from going out on dates. Not because I'm worried about like them looking at me. It's just like how I feel in my body. Do I feel
Mhm.
okay today? So or do I feel okay this week, or this time of the month? Like, let's be honest, like there's certain times of the month that I'm like, no, I can't even go on dates. Um, so working on it.
We're gonna take it day by day, folks, and just love yourself. Love
Yeah.
yourself. Can we talk a little bit about your TikTok and I just love how it's the dating stories that you have on there. Like, I don't know, I'm not on TikTok like too often because it scares me. But when I do go on, you're one of the people that I follow, and I just love like when your content comes up and you're just like, you should start a podcast. Like, you're just like authentically just sharing these stories that you know, in experiencing it, I would probably get like really defeated having gone through a date like that. But again, your optimism, your humor about it, like it's just so, just endearing and just hopeful in a way. How like when did you was your content like always about that, or was there a certain point when it's like, oh, this is getting a lot of responses, like let me talk more about my dating life. Like, can you talk a little bit about your TikTok?
Yeah, it started actually around the time when I was doing when I did the matchmaking service, and I was like, I was gonna do kind of like you are. I'm gonna
Yeah.
document my journey, and then literally had that one date and I was like, I'm just gonna let this like sit for a second and just forget that I even said that out loud. And then there the dating TikTok, that community is at large right now. I'm like heavy in it, and people share their dating stories, and it makes you feel like, okay, I'm not crazy. I'm also not going through this. So it feels, I think that's what TikTok is really helping me through, is that like it's the relatable content finds you, and you also feel inspired to share your content or your experiences. And sometimes it's like one time a dating story went like not viral, but like had several, like a lot of views. And it was just in the heated moment. Like I got home, it's like 11 p.m. I film myself. There's no captions, nothing. I post it the next morning. It's like they're like, screw that guy. And I'm like, yeah, like it's like a weird community that cheers you on and makes you feel like you are seen and you don't know anyone. And so I love that TikTok can be there for you, sometimes like you said, going back to girlfriends, like maybe somebody doesn't
Mhm.
have the girlfriends to like talk to. Maybe all of my girlfriends, and this is true, are like dating people, and they're like married or engaged, and I'm like, who the hell am I going to talk to about this stuff? TikTok.
Yep.
TikTok will
The internet.
listen.
Yeah. I can totally relate to I'm definitely getting to that age now where it's like literally all of my friends are married, engaged, having kids. So this experiences like this and just like you said, being able to share and like have people validate, the craziness of some
Yeah.
experiences, it's very cathartic, and it can be very healing in a lot of ways because this dating and in general can, as much as you're trying to like find a person, it can be very lonely in that process. um you're judging yourself, you're critiquing yourself, and it's easy to just kind of get down and feel that fatigue after a while, especially if the dates are not going so great or you're not really meeting anybody that's sparking it. What keeps you going in your dating life? Like what keeps you motivated?
I can tell you right now, I'm not very motivated. I don't know if it's the weather or, me just having a little bit of app burnout.
Mhm.
Um, I was kind of seeing someone at the end of 2020, and that video that went semi-viral was about him. I was frustrated, and of course, didn't listen to anybody on the internet. And I went on more dates. He ended up just breaking my heart and pretty much ghosting me. So I was kind of like burnt out from that experience, and hopefully going to be starting back up soon. But honestly, like I don't mind the apps. I know a lot of friends who have met their significant other, engaged husband now on apps. So that's keeping me hopeful. Um, it is a little discouraging. I will say, I'm not going to sit here and like sugarcoat it. Like I am I'm keeping the going, but it's at a slow roll right now. Yeah.
Respect that. Yeah, you got to protect your energy at the end of the day, and sometimes you need breaks, sometimes you need to just come back to you and life happens. You're on the move. It sounds like you're definitely, working hard to achieve other goals at the same time. So it doesn't have to necessarily
Yeah.
always be, you know, about the love train, but I think just, yeah, recognizing where the fatigue comes in and kind of giving ourselves that grace is important too. I'm learning that because, like, I would just beat myself down for not like being more successful at this, especially the older I get. And I think I just want to be at a place of just true peace, of just like being with myself. And if it happens, great. But otherwise, like, I have other things that like fulfill me and, satisfy me. So
Yeah,
I totally understand.
I want to stay active as well, but I want to do things that like bring me joy, and hopefully in those things that bring me joy, it will also lead me to, more relationships with friends and, maybe a significant other. Yeah.
Absolutely. What do you feel like has been your hardest lesson in love?
Definitely the definitely comparison, comparing to my first love, and that was like a hard lesson to learn, that comparing and wishing and hoping for that same feeling is probably not going to happen again. And at least in that exact form, it'll happen in a different way with a different person. And it took me a long time to get there.
Mm, that's a tough one, and it's an important one. And I think also like recognizing that it's not so much that I need to find that person again, it's that I need to understand who I am today to know what's going to make me like feel good about a relationship, right? Like cuz the feelings are different because not because you're with that person, but because you're just a different person, right?
That is
Like
so
you're in a different point of life from when you first met that person. So
that
who
is
is yeah. Who am I today and what do I want? And like what is gonna spark that? Because if I look back at my first love and if I mean I'm still kind of in touch with him, but like I look at him now and I'm like, I don't I'm not attracted to you. Like what was like where how did I get to that level of feeling? Like you're not I don't know, not to shit on him. And again, I'm gonna do another deep dive on that. But like yeah, I recognize like, oh, I'm a different person and what I want is different now. So there's no need to compare it to that anymore because it doesn't matter. So
I
yeah.
didn't even think about that. I was a very different person when I was with him. So wow. I just learned something here today. Thank you for that.
It's how we do it here on Healing Through Love. We heal and we have breakthroughs.
Yeah.
Um, on the flip side of that, do you think you've gotten any great gifts from love?
Oh gosh. I want to say I know that I've changed, but now I know what I had originally of relationships is not obviously what I wanted. And now I know what lights my fire. I know that physical touch is important to me, even though I disgusted it as an early dater. I know that I do kind of like romantic things, even though that like I used to, ugh, I'm like a Virgo. I'm like, oh, stop, please. Like, no romantic shit. Um, and I know that on those are, a little bit deeper level. And I know that like things, even small things, count towards that type of love. Like my love of music. If I know the type of music that you like is very similar to mine, I'm like, I'll fall in love with you. And so I even like the recognizing the small things, because I think I was looking on like a grander scale, that those count towards all these like little things. So yeah.
Wow. Mary, you just blew my mind on that last one. Yeah. The small things. I don't even I don't even think about that sometimes of just like the way that I cut my pizza, or like
Yeah.
little things like that that it's funny because in marriages, like those are usually the things that end up like really degrading at marriages sometimes when you haven't considered those things, those like small isms or behaviors or whatever. And so yeah, that's the question that like I want to ask myself later and really think about, like, what are the small things that add to my experience of love or take away from it, right? Like what are your ticks, that was a good one. That's great.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to share? We want to talk about like where people can find you, where we can keep up with you.
Yeah, sure, of course. Um, you can find me on my TikTok. All my dating stories are on TikTok because no one like no not anyone that I know follows me there yet, which is like really fun. So like exposing myself now. Like all the people that I've gone on dates with probably do not know that I'm talking about them yet. But I think it's just at Mary.Wolff, I believe, on TikTok. Wolf, like the animal with two F's. And at Mary_Wolff on Instagram, where I'm at mostly, and on Obey Fitness if you want to work out with me. I also talk about my dating stories sometimes in my classes. So
And those are the best classes when you're like doing burpees up and down and Mary's just telling this
I'm like, so I went
hilarious
on
story.
this date on Friday night. Yeah, exactly.
Impressive. I'm impressed by that. Mary, thank you so much for speaking with me today. I can't wait to, yeah, keep up with you on TikTok and all the things. I'm super proud of all of your success. And yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Healing Through Love. As always, if you have any comments or questions about today's talk, feel free to reach out on social media at solidarity_media, or you can head to solidaritymediaproductions.com to learn more and continue the conversation. If you head to the show notes of this episode, you'll find links on how to get in contact with today's guest. Also, there is a link for you to be a supporter of the podcast by becoming a monthly donor. Any amount helps in expanding the reach and growth of the podcast. So, thank you so much for your continued support. If you are listening to this episode on Spotify, we have some fun polls and questions at the bottom of each episode that you can also submit answers to. Thank you so much for listening, and I can't wait to talk to you soon. Bye.